So, the next topic we're going to talk about is the 2023 Iran protests. Thoughts from a Persian. Historically, the protests in Iran or Iran have been triggered by economic issues, political dissatisfaction, human rights, and social grievances. The protests are a form of political expression that all societies practice in some way. This is because people commonly have diverse opinions, culture, and religious beliefs, and political beliefs, and upbringing, and other situations. So many underlying factors lead to protests, and it is often difficult to fully assess these accurately when you're not really seeing them firsthand. And so, based on some research, this is a video about my thoughts of the protests recently in Iran's past several years, and it's just mostly based on research and not necessarily from me being there firsthand. Firstly, the hijab. So, hijab is a headscarf that covers a woman's hair and neck. It's often required by law for women to wear it in public in Iran. Despite the law, women do protest and choose not to wear the hijab in Iran. People and will often protest against wearing it, and instead some women yell death to the dictator and burn their hijab in bonfires in revolt. And so much of the protests are focused in schools and universities where women try to do protests and post photos and videos on social media, but the data sharing is often shut down or controlled by the government. I feel this control over information is worse in other countries like China, where there are Western genocides that are human right violations. And in China, in this region, they're pervasively controlling the information, and they utilize countless cameras to scan faces for the genocides. They scan barcodes on their homes to monitor personal protected information about each resident of each home. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the information control of this region in China and how they're utilizing control tactics to basically lock up and kill different individuals of different cultures. And if you would like to learn more about this, you can definitely look up real life lore and watch a very informative video about this topic. So there has been a lot of different deaths with regards to the Iran protests, where both women and men have been imprisoned. And so over 18,000 people have been imprisoned based on the TLDR daily news reports. The Iranian government has responded to these protests with arrests and intimidation and imprisonment, with supposedly accidental fires and the killing of people who protest. And so, despite the risks, many Iranians continue to speak out and advocate for their rights. So, there are gender inequalities. Women in Iran have the legal right to vote and run for office. However, while women in Iran have this right to vote and participate in politics, they do still face discrimination and inequality. And so women must firstly adhere to a strict dress code, including wearing the hijab, and they do face limitations on their freedoms. Women are significantly underrepresented in positions of power in Iran, and women are protesting for greater equality, greater representation, and the changing of the laws and practices to foster less discrimination and inequalities. With regards to drinking water issues and inequalities in Iran, Iran does have a arid and semi-arid climate in much of the country that really enhances water scarcity issues due to their low rainfall, their high population growth, and their limited resources. So, water shortage is a persistent problem in Iran, and it's worsening in the most recent years due to droughts. Protests have occurred due to the redirecting of water supplies from disadvantaged or less populated areas to more populated major cities. And so revolts have been occurring due to the mismanagement of water resources and the inequalities that exist with regards to the drinking water access. People are simply asking for the government to take action to resolve drinking water shortages. It is no secret that around the world, drinking water is a major issue. For example, Russia has dried up the fourth largest lake in the world for agricultural use and cotton farming. And so, here the biggest issue was that the water lines were also very poorly maintained, and it led to a lot of waste through their arid climate. There was a lot of water evaporation when the leaks in the lines allowed the water to, instead of getting to their final destination, they would basically leak and then evaporate into the air and the environment, and the water would just be wasted and not actually utilized for anything. And so, in result, the country would basically redirect more and more water for their agricultural use. And because of the leaks and lack of maintenance to the water lines, a lot of water was wasted, and more of the lake has been dried up in response. So, all across the world, drinking water is an issue, and water lines and systems should really be improved for better efficiencies as well as better maintained. In the US, we have laws and executive orders to combat inequalities. For example, the Executive Order 13985 for advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities. We also have EO 1400 to tackle the climate crisis at home and abroad, and EO 12898 for environmental justice, and Civil Rights Act of 1964, Americans with Disability Act, ADA, the Age Discrimination in Employment Act, ADEA, and the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. So, according to a report by the World Resource Institute, Iran is one of the most water-stressed countries in the world. And so drinking water availability, particularly in drought-prone areas, are common due to limited groundwater availability. So not only do they not have very large quantities of groundwater to access for their drinking water, but their drinking water infrastructure and management practices can also be improved. both in Iran, but also we can do that worldwide. It's very important that we really focus on improving our water structure, infrastructure worldwide, because drinking water issues are, you know, international. They're across country borders, and this is a topic that we all are aware of, and we can really affect the quality of life of not just humans, but every organism on Earth if we just took actions to improve our drinking water and our infrastructure and maintaining these systems. And so, there are economic difficulties. Iran has been subject to economic sanctions and diplomatic isolation. The sanctions on Iran's access to oil and gas, their international banking system, financial transactions with Iranian banks, prohibitions on the sale of certain goods and services, shipping, and also trade have all been impacted. The sanctions have led to a very significant impact on Iran's economy, and it's led to the decline in their oil and gas exports and depreciation of Iran's currency, and also higher inflation. So, the next topic we're going to talk about is Persian hospitality. So, Iranians are known for being very warm and welcoming toward their visitors. Hospitality is very important in the Persian culture, and so, a home can be a very private, personal, and sacred place. And we hold a lot of different cultural norms that um, we do really, really put into practice within our households. And so, for example, we do remove our shoes when we enter the home, and we are very courteous to our guests, and we are the same to our hosts. Because it really takes a lot of time to really plan an amazing get together and provide for the people that you're welcoming into your home. And so there's a Persian proverb that states, guests are a gift from God, and the locals will definitely treat you as if you're royalty itself. Iranians really do place a lot of value on hospitality. They offer a variety of foods, drinks, and tea, and sweets, and fruits, rice, kebab, chicken, yogurt, and a lot of large portions of full meals to their guests. And oftentimes these meals, they just take a really long time to prepare. They're very, very unique dishes with hours and hours of labor just to create them. And so they really go above and beyond to really serve their guests and provide for them and entertain them. We do enjoy doing different games. For example, we play a lot of cards, backgammon, and we have a lot of cultural traditions and celebrations for our guests. You can often find like Persian dancing or music, or sports. We do enjoy going to local parks and playing soccer or other sports. And so there's a lot of both intellectual and physically entertaining activities that we will engage in. A lot of Iranians are known for being very good communicators, very outgoing, and you can often find them engaging in very long conversations with their guests. They'll be very open to sharing their life lessons and their wisdom, and telling really fun, enjoyable stories. And so I really think that it is pretty amazing being a Persian and, you know, being a very giving person and really welcoming to others. I wouldn't change that about myself ever, because in the end of the day, um, it's all about, doing what you can in life and just being your best and doing your best. And if others appreciate all the things you do, great. And if they don't, I still think that we should always be our best self and do our best in all aspects of our life. And so I think that's, what a Persian really is, it kind of goes back to my necklace, symbolic to, Far Bahar. It really comes back to my necklace. The Far Bahar basically means do good, be good, and think good. And so in life, you really want to always um, do good things, be a good person, and always think good, amazing things. And so if you're being your best self and really welcoming to others and just doing the best you can in life, I think a lot of amazing things will go your way. And I think that, being a Persian and embodying all these things has been really an amazing thing. And so I think that's all for now. I'll talk to you all soon. If you have any questions about life as a Persian, or if you have any other thoughts about this topic, feel free to comment below. Thanks.